Hi guys, my name is Meg and welcome to my plush factory. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are new here, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so that you can see when I post new videos in the future. Today we're going to be doing something really fun. I went and bought a whole bunch of yarn from the Dollar Tree because I was seeing online and on YouTube that the Dollar Tree was kind of upping their game in some stores and stocking a lot more yarn. And I was hopeful that my Dollar Tree would also be doing that. And they were, and I was really excited. They had so much yarn. Last time I went in to check, they only had white, and this time I went in and they had an entire wall of yarn. It was glorious. I felt like I was in heaven. So I decided I was going to buy one of every single color and do a little yarn review for you guys. I have used this yarn before. I bought a whole bunch of skeins of the white previously, so I've tried it out a little bit, but this is my first time using any of the colored skeins. So I'm going to show you what I got right now and give you some first impressions, how it feels, all of those things, and then I will use the yarn and I'll make a couple things and I'll give you my thoughts after that as well. So first, what I made, I'm gonna dump all of these out so that the bag doesn't crinkle every time I pull one out. So if you haven't seen it before, this is the Premier Just Chenille. It is exactly what it sounds like. It is just chenille yarn. The skeins are 65 yards or 50 grams. Let me see how that compares to a skein of Parfait Chunky. So the skein of Parfait Chunky that I have right here is 131 yards and 100 grams. So it's about half of the amount of yarn, and a skein of Parfait Chunky, I believe, is $5. I will double check that and put the price on the screen. I believe it's $5, and a skein of the Just Chenille from Dollar Tree is $1.25. So I actually have my receipt here, and for all of this yarn, I spent $16.25, and I bought 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 skeins. So I bought the black. This is the Just Chenille in black. I bought the gray. Yeah, they have pretty basic names. They're just, you know, gray, black. These two feel different to me, so I can already tell that there's some inconsistencies in the yarn. This one feels really soft, and this one has that kind of like scratchy, rough, like towel-y feeling to it. So I'm already sensing a trend there, and I actually did already go ahead and start using this emerald color. So I got this emerald color, and this one feels similar to the black. They both have that kind of towel feel, although the black feels worse than the emerald. So we'll see how that all washes out. I got the yellow color. This one is called Lemon, and this one feels kind of soft, not quite as soft as the gray. The gray is the softest so far, but it doesn't feel as bad as the black or the emerald. I got this color, which is called Mint. It's like a nice little mint green, and this one feels, again, not quite as soft as the gray, about the same as the lemon. I got this one in light mauve. This one feels very soft. I got this color in oyster, and this one feels medium. I feel like we've got 3 different levels. We have super towel-y, that's the black and the emerald. We have somewhere in the middle, which is most of them so far, and then we have the soft, like the gray and the mauve. This one feels soft. This is salmon. This color is so pretty. It's like a pinky, like coral color. That's gorgeous. I got this color, which is called tan, but this one has a little bit of like, almost like, I don't know what you'd call that. It's not variegated, but got like kind of flex in it. And this one feels like sort of medium soft. I got this light blue color, which is literally called light blue. This one feels really soft, and this is a really pretty color. I'm excited to use this. I got this pink color, which is just called pink. It's funny, some of them have names and some of them are just called their color. This one feels very soft as well. Maybe I'll make something like cotton candy-y for this video with these 2 colors. I'm obsessed with that color combination. Everything I make, everything I want to make, cotton candy. And then I got this red color, which, let's guess, this one is called Crimson. Okay, and is that it? Oh, and then there's one more. There's this hot pink color, which is called Hibiscus. So that's really pretty. This is the comparison of these 2 colors. So this is like a little bit more hot pink than the Parfait Chunky bubblegum color. I really like this color. Kind of reminds me of one of the Sweet Snuggles light colors. They have a hot pink like this. So those are all the colors that I got. That's how they're feeling upon first impression. And like I said, these are each $1.25. So I'm excited to try it and see see how they feel. Like I said, I have had the white. Let me go get a skein of the white. Here's what the white looks like, and this is literally just called white. So, and this one is very soft. It's a little more matte than the other ones. I feel like they all kind of have that shiny quality to them, so that's another thing that makes them different from the Parfait Chunky. They have more of a shiny quality. All right, I am losing my light right now, so I am going to make some stuff with this, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow and give you guys an update on what I think, and then we'll do the review and the breakdown of all of my thoughts and feelings and opinions then when I have a little bit more daylight and when I have actually used the yarn. So stay tuned for that.
This is special. You look good. We feel that vibe all night.
All right, you guys, I'm back. I've used the yarn and I have some thoughts and opinions. And if you're not here to hear my thoughts and opinions, then you're in the wrong place because this is a review video. So, as you saw last night, I used the yarn. I used this salmon color, which is gorgeous. I really love this color and I thought it would be a really good gummy bear color. So I made this little gummy bear, as you saw. Now, I believe that I should have sized down my hook. I used a 5.5 and I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a little bit holier than I like. Yeah, you can sort of see through, you can see the stuffing through just a little bit here. Now that's probably just user error. I should have sized down my hook, but I didn't. And then actually I had that thought last night and then I forgot. And then today I used a 5.5 again, which was silly, but that's okay. So I wanted to show you in comparison, this is Parfait Chunky and this is the Premier Just Chenille. So both Premier yarns, as you can see, the Just Chenille works up just a little bit smaller than the Premier Parfait Chunky, which is funny because I actually kind of thought that the Just Chenille would be a little bit bulkier than the Parfait Chunky, but it's not. It works up just a tiny bit smaller, and I used the same hook size for both of these. So that's the comparison there. I didn't really have any issues with this. As you can see in the video, the magic circle worked up great. Little tip, if you're struggling with the magic ring, do a couple of stitches and start pulling your circle before you finish. Like if you're doing 6 single crochet in a magic ring, do the first like 2 or 3 and then pull just a little bit and then do the rest of the stitches and finish pulling it all the way. It makes it a little bit easier. It's just a little tip if you're struggling with that. But yeah, so I didn't have any issues with this guy. I kept messing up the pattern, but that was not the yarn's fault. That was my fault when I made this. So that's the little gummy bear. And then today I made a little mushy pop. I wanted to make things that I have made in Parfait Chunky so that I can compare. So this is the mushy pop I made with the Just Chenille. Cute as ever. The red yarn was honestly a tiny bit tricky to work with. It was trickier than the salmon color had been. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with that. I think the main takeaway from this yarn review is that there's just some inconsistencies. Some of the yarn is really, really great, and some of it is not as good. None of it that I used is horrible. It's all decent. It works up fine. There's just some skeins that there's like a little bit of quality inconsistencies with. The hot pink that I used is just a little bit like, it's a little bit like scratchier almost and spikier. I'll show you that in a second, but right now we're talking about this mush pop. So the white worked up like a dream. Honestly, the white was very soft. It was, you know, little to no fluff. That was another thing that's nice about this yarn is that, you know, it has a little bit of fluff because it's chenille yarn, so you're typically going to expect a little bit of shedding, but there was not like an exorbitant amount of shedding with this yarn. As you can see, as I showed you guys last night as well, this compared to the Parfait Chunky, it has a little bit more of a shiny texture, so I wanted to compare the two reds. This is Crimson from the Just Chenille, and this is Poppy from Parfait Chunky. As you can see, Poppy is very matte, and the Just Chenille Crimson is a little bit more shiny. It has just a little bit of a sheen. So here are the two mushy pops next to each other. Same thing, the Just Chenille works up just a tiny bit smaller, but it's not super noticeable size difference. I used a 5.5mm hook on the mushy pop as well, and at the bottom there was just a little bit of holiness, and that's when I remembered that I had decided I was going to use a 5mm after making the gummy bear, but forgot to do that. So from here on out, I used a 5mm hook. I think that the top looks okay. It's really not that big of a deal, you know, and that's all going to depend on your personal tension. The hook size that I use is not going to be compatible with every single person's tension. We all crochet differently, so that's just what I used. I used a 5.5. It was a little too big. Then I made a strawberry turtle. I made this strawberry turtle because I wanted to use both of those pinks, and I also wanted to use the emerald because I wanted to give a shot to one of the colors that I noticed was a little bit scratchier, and I figured this was a good way to use all of those different colors. So I want to show you a comparison. This is not the same pattern. It's a different strawberry turtle pattern, so you know you're not going to be able to do that comparison, but I just wanted to show you color wise. So this is the Parfait Chunky in Cotton Candy in the light pink, and then Bubblegum is the shell color, and then this is the Just Chenille. This is the light pink, I think it's just called pink, and the hibiscus color, and then the emerald, and then of course the stem is key lime and the Parfait Chunky. So here's the comparison of these guys. Like I said, it's not the same pattern, so you can't quite compare, but color wise those are the differences. Let's talk about my experience making this turtle. So the light pink worked up fabulous, super soft, no issues, very minimal shedding. I didn't have any problems with the magic ring at all. It was great. The hot pink, for some reason, when I did the center pull on it, and actually now that I'm looking at the outside of the skein as well, it just has like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. I did take a close-up clip, so hopefully I can put that in and you'll be able to see, but it's just got this sort of spiky quality to it that makes it a little bit thinner, a little bit harder to work with. It fluffs a little bit more, and I just don't love the look of it, because if you look at the shell on this turtle, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I think the plushie still came out fine, but if you look at the shell of the turtle, you can see that it's just got that kind of scruffy look to it that I'm not a fan of. So that was a disappointing skein. Unfortunately, the hibiscus, it is soft, so it's not that towely. Like the emerald color is very towely. When I feel these two in comparison with each other, I wish that I could like put them and you guys could feel them. I wish you could feel them through the screen, because this one is super towely feeling, but it doesn't have that like spikiness to it. This one is very soft, but it has that kind of like, I don't know, it's weird. It almost looks like pipe cleaners. If you guys used pipe cleaners when you were a kid to like work on arts and crafts project, it looks like pipe cleaner. And I just don't like the way that it looks when it's worked up. And I feel like you can't really tell on the camera. But so again, not the end of the world, but just something to look out for if you are going to buy some of this yarn. Just beware, there's lots of different issues that you could run into, so just take a look. If they have more than one of every color in the store that you're at, take a look at all the different skeins and pick the one that feels the softest to you, and maybe look out for that like spikiness. And you know, I don't know if it's every single one of this colorway or what the deal is, but that's my experience with that. Now the emerald that I used for this stem, like I said, we all know the texture, rough, towely, but it worked up fine. It honestly didn't bother me much when I was making it. Now, if I had made more than just this little stem with it, it may have bothered me. The magic ring was a little bit trickier on this emerald one, just because it was that kind of like rougher material. And you guys know, if you felt any of the bad skeins of Sweet Snuggles Light, it has that like starchy feeling. And if you've ever tried to crochet with one of the bad skeins of Sweet Snuggles Light, it's like it almost doesn't want to pull. It like catches a lot more on the magic ring. So I did have that sort of experience with the emerald, but it wasn't horrible. Like I said, I only made this stem with it, so it wasn't bad. And I chose to do something with just a little bit of the emerald because it doesn't feel nice, honestly. Like this part, the head, the fins, everything feels really soft, but then when I feel this stem, it's like not pleasant to touch. So if I am planning on selling this plushie, which I do plan to put this out at my market, I wouldn't want to sell something that's that's just like not pleasant to feel, because that's the whole point of stuffed animals. They're supposed to be cozy and soft, so we don't want this towel texture. So those are my thoughts on that. Overall, I would say in comparison to Parfait Chunky, and I'm comparing it to Parfait Chunky, by the way, because it's the most similar yarn in my opinion, and it's made by the same brand. They're both made by Premier, so I figured it was just good to compare those two. In comparison to Parfait Chunky, I would say Parfait Chunky is a little bit easier to work with than the Just Chenille, and I would say it's also a little bit more consistent than the Just Chenille. Now, of course, every once in a while you will get a skein of Parfait Chunky that's got skips in it and that tears really easily, and there's quality issues. As we all know, as crochet artists, unfortunately, yarn is just not consistent. Every single yarn that I've ever used, there's been good skeins and there's been bad skeins. So I don't take that many points off for the inconsistency, because like I said, with every yarn, you're gonna have the differences in quality. I would just say that if you are planning on purchasing this yarn, make sure that you're feeling all the skeins and you're choosing the ones that feel the best to you, that feel the softest, and that look the sturdiest, and that aren't like flaking off when you're in the store. So yeah, that's my review. Overall, final thoughts is that this is a good yarn. Would I buy it again? Absolutely. There's some beautiful colors. I really love the light blue. I really love this salmon color. I will definitely be repurchasing the white. The white is really nice to have for such a cheap skein of white yarn. It's really nice to have a bunch of these lying around for like spots on mushy pops and spots on strawberries and strawberry turtles, and just white detailing. And sometimes you don't want to use, you know, your Sweet Snuggles light or your Parfait Chunky white, so it's really nice to have a bunch of these on hand. And yeah, if I'm running out of a color and I really need to make something, but I don't want to buy like an entire skein or wait for Premier to ship a skein of Parfait Chunky, this is a really great option. You can run to the Dollar Tree and you can pick something up for a low cost. I would also say if you're looking for a cheaper alternative to Parfait Chunky or Sweet Snuggles Light, or you know, all of the other plush yarns, of these Voluto, all of those, this is a good option. It's a great option. It's nice to have that accessibility. I feel like right now, with everything that's happening in the craft community, with Joann's closing and with Sweet Snuggles Light being sort of out of commission, and we don't know if it's returning, and if it is returning, when it is returning, it's nice to have an in-store option. I feel like we don't have a lot of those right now. So I love the fact that I could just run to a Dollar Tree and pick up a couple skeins of yarn, spend less than $10, you know, have a variety of colors. That's another thing that's nice about it, is that they do have a pretty good color selection. I was pleasantly surprised, and I actually went back today to get some B-roll footage of the yarn wall, and they had even more colors than the last time I was there. So yeah, overall, I think it's a great yarn for the price, and it's also great like if you have a younger kid or a teenager who's just starting to get into crochet and really wants to learn how to make amigurumi and wants to use the plush yarn, but you're not sure if it's a hobby that's going to stick. This is a great option for that. I think it would be a great learning yarn. Like I said, just make sure that you pick those skeins carefully and choose the ones that are soft, but it's great. I think it would be a good yarn to learn the magic ring on, and all of the different stitches, you know, works up really nicely. You can see all your stitches really easily with this yarn, and it's just a good cheap alternative to having to order online or go to the craft store and hope that they have a good skein of Sweet Snuggles Light, or go to Joann and shop the liquidation sale. So those are my thoughts. As always, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're looking for more content like this, please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button as well. That really helps me out. And leave me a comment letting me know if you've tried the Premier Just Chenille or any of the Premier yarns that they have at Dollar Tree, what your thoughts were, if you would purchase again. And please come back for next week's video. I have a market coming up on Saturday, so I will be, of course, vlogging that, and I'll be posting that for you guys next week. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!